Hello everyone, Pigeon here, coming at you for the Terrafae channel. So I'm doing a slightly different style of video today, because unfortunately our past game on a Wednesday for the Kerecekian duty campaign, the connection didn't work to Twitch properly, and so the video was really laggy and just unusable, unwatchable. So that there is no gap in between the campaign, missing space and time, I'm going to read the notes that one of our players, Lucy, plays Zafira. She writes some fantastic notes, so I'm going to read those just so that we've got the gap filler, so anyone that watches back doesn't have to miss out entirely on what happened. So, continuing on from the fight in the crypt, in the brazier room, Zafira disengages the group surrounding her and hurries over to Scath, towering over him to provide some additional cover. It takes some time, but eventually the group is back up. It seems that Zafira is the only one that can just fully destroy these undead. As the battle continues, Scath runs up to a skeleton and bites its arm, making it tumble and fall to the ground. The continuous assault proves to be too much for Zafira, and eventually the paladin is brought to her knees, falling unconscious. The boys seem lost for a moment, but proceed in attacking the undead. Slowly, realization creeps in that without Zafira and her radiant damage, the undead will keep rising and fighting back. Azura provides Zafira with a healing potion, and she gets up. Her resolve is strong as ever, and she protects herself with a sanctuary for the time being. The battle continues, but Scath's plan of disarming the undead works out well with Zafira's sacred flames. Finally, the undead are defeated. The paladin comes forward with an idea to attempt to turn the fire in the brazier into a holy flame. Oddly enough, it works out, and the brazier now illuminates the room with a radiant white light. But the flames on the torch are extinguished, and the stone doors start closing on Shozan, Zafira, and Scath. Shozan is trapped in a corridor with a skeleton archer, while Zafira and Scath end up in a corridor with a single skeleton warrior. Azura is trying to figure out how to open the doors again, lighting the torch once again with the holy flame. He finds Shozan walking out of the corridor, mumbling to the disarmed skeleton, who tries to shoot him with a bow and no arrows in its hand. The group is reunited as the torch burns in the sacred flames, and Zafira encourages Scath to give Shozan a little scare, and the lizard ends up getting a bonk on the nose. Scath, the sneaky lizard, approaches the two unmoving skeletons and disarms them swiftly. The group discusses and agrees to take out the three unliving in the brazier room, and then have a rest. Azura quickly carries out the deed to dispose of the undead with the still lit holy flame torch, and the room is finally empty except for the group. Finally, they can rest a little. The second torch. After a short rest, the group decides to try to open the other stone doors by lighting the second torch. Zafira and Shozan take up positions by the closed doors, while Scath scurries to the other side of the room and listen out for the stone door at the end of the next corridor. Merely holding the first torch against the still fastened one does not set it ablaze. After investigating the fastened torch, it seems to be attached to the pillar by some small hooks, and with one big heave, Azura lifts the torch off the pillar and takes it to the brazier. Anxiously, weapons are readied as the holy flames engulf the second torch, and the first door slowly sinks into the ground. Only rubble reveals itself. Shozan and Zafira go inside to investigate the corridor, and past the rubble they find an opening into another corridor. As the hobgoblin carefully looks around the corner, another empty hallway lies ahead. The two scouts return and ready themselves at the second door, and after fully lighting both torches, the door slides open. As the doors open on both sides, more undead stumble into the room and approach the group. Battle commences once more, and it turns out that even with the holy torches, the undead still really hurt. It's a rough fight, and both Shozan and Azura are feeling rough. Now that it seems that the group is alone, Scath goes to scout the other corridors and finds more scattered undead. He reports to the group before sneaking down the only remaining corridor which Zafira and Shozan scouted before. Down that corridor, the lizard finds a tripwire just behind the closed stone doors, and it looks like a very thin wire hidden between the rubble. Shozan determines that we cannot be alone in these ruins. A tripwire in a crumbled and ancient ruins, it must be a sign. The group discusses how to move forward, and everyone goes to investigate the tripwire from a safer distance. As everyone exits the brazier room, the beacon torches disappear, and the doors close behind. There's no going back. The trap. Azura investigates the tripwire and finds it is attached to a small stick on the walls. At the end of the corridor, there is a door which seems to have split in the middle. It might be two halves of a door which can open. Shozan, perceptive as he is, investigates the tripwire once again, seeing that it is very taut and can be triggered extremely easily. With Zafira's guidance, Scath slowly walks over to the tripwire to attempt to disarm it. After a thorough investigation and with a defeated realization, he determines there is no way of doing this easily. Delicately, rubble is gathered to secure the stick in place so that when the wire is cut, it won't move. But doubts creep in. What if packing the rubble to secure the stick triggers the trap regardless? No, it's not worth the risk. Scath quickly returns to the group. There is no way. A brief discussion takes place, and ideas are shared, and a confusion found. Zafira uses her telekinesis to pluck the wire. A huge explosion shakes the ruins. The corridor is blackened as fire briefly engulfs the area. Once the fire is gone, relief washes over Azura, Scath, Shozan and Zafira as they realise they can now continue without having been hurt by the trap. As they walk down the blackened hallway, finding rubble along the walls where the trap had exploded, they realise they probably dodged quite a big bullet. Behind the door at the end, they hear an orcish voice sound quietly. "Prepare yourselves. The trap was set off." And that is where we will pick up next time. Thank you all for watching this brief synopsis of the episode. I hope it serves as a bit of a gap filler where we'd missed out on the stream itself. We'll see you next time.